The Knight of Pentacles. I know whenever we see the Knight of Pentacles, everyone always says, oh, he's the slowest moving knight. But there's a reason for that, right? It's because he's the most reliable knight. He's the one that's going to get the job done. He's not afraid of hard work. I think he's always very hardworking. He's the perfectionist. He tries to make sure the job's done properly. You know, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. Every step is taken carefully and properly, right? Now, when this knight comes up as an underlying energy, it almost feels as if you're kind of slowing down and you're looking at what you've been doing. I'm saying that as well because we have the Seven of Pentacles coming up at the heart of your reading. That's what your focus is on. And so think about it. I'll go back to the knight in a moment. But if your focus is on, you know, what you've planted, what you're getting back, whatever you've been working on, yes, it's Pentacles. And I don't do that whole thing of automatically assuming that because it's Pentacles, it's to do with work. Pentacles are tangible representations of security and stability in our lives. And anything can be that, right? Our homes, our relationships, something that we can see, feel, and touch that gives us security, but you've put work into it. You planted the seeds, you sown the seeds rather, you've watered them, made sure they're weeded, made sure they got enough light. You've done the work. You've been putting in work. Now you're starting to see the results of the work that you've been doing. And you're having a look at it. And this is where we assess. I always think with the sevens, we're kind of assessing and looking at it and thinking, well, is this what I wanted? When I kind of went in this, when I planted those seeds, did I want that big of a, like whatever this is, a bush or a tree? Did I want apples? Did I get oranges? Like, what is it that I want? And this is where we decide if it's still worth putting effort into, or if we want to tweak it, change it, or go do something else, right? What else do I need to know? What else do I need to bring in at this stage? You know, maybe it's not growing fast enough. So this is where you kind of give it some kind of oomph, like it needs extra light, or you want to repot it or something like that. I'm not even a gardener, so I don't know why I always call it the gardener card. Now, to do that, you need the Knight of Pentacles energy, right? Which is to slow down, have a look at it and think, what am I doing here? How much work and effort am I putting into it? Now, the only thing I will say with this, there's no good or bad cards. I always say that, right? Every card has an energy, which is a blessing or a curse. We use it as a blessing or a curse. And I tend to, in my readings, look at the blessings, how we can use that energy to the best advantage. You know, if it's fire, are we going to cook and keep ourselves warm with it? Or, you know, I'm not going to focus on, burn your house down with it or set yourself on fire. That's just not the way that I work. So with this energy, the curse side of it is that we can want things to be perfect. This will be a very kind of perfectionist energy. Why is it not perfect? Why is this not happening? And we can be a bit hard on ourselves. We can judge whatever we've been putting effort into unfairly when this kind of energy comes up. So it's about finding that sweet spot, that kind of middle place where you're looking at it, but you're seeing it clearly for what it is. And that's how you'll know if it's worth putting more effort into, or if you want to tweak it or change something about it, right? Knights, they're always about progress. So you will make progress. As much as they call him the slowest knight, he still moves. It might be slowly, it might be baby steps. There is a very slow energy here. I will not lie to you. With the Knight of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, this is the card of patience. It can be having patience. You know, it's okay. It's cool. I like the initial results. I'll keep putting work into this. I'm ready, you know, to sustained effort will bring me the results I hope for eventually. That's what this card says. Why is that? Why would you go to this? Because you've had some recognition for something that you've done. Six of Wands is that, you know, he sits up there on his horse, proud of what he's done, saying, hey, look at me. Look what I've achieved. There's my victory wreath. I've had a victory. So this is being acknowledged or being recognized. That if this is a work reading for you, you've done well. You've done really well. But it's kind of with this energy coming up, I don't feel like this is enough. Whatever you've been recognized for, it's like, well, great, I was recognized for that, but how do I go further? This is a relationship reading. It's about, you know, you might be in a relationship that requires a lot of hard work, and relationships can be any relationship, right? Your friends, family members, your lover, whatever it is, you know, if you've put, you know, you're kind of analyzing at this time, how much effort am I putting into this? What am I getting out of this relationship? There have been some good moments. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, with the Six of Wands in the past, we've had some recognition. We have had some recognition. And we're proud. We're proud of what we've done so far. That's the whole thing. I do see this as a card of pride because he sits up there with pride in what he's done. So it's not about It's not that you don't like what you've done so far, the work that you don't begrudge that. But at some point, it's the rewards, right? Are you getting enough recognition? You might have created the best song ever. You might have, gotten your relationship to a really kind of steady place. I mean, say your partner was, they've had some issues and you've supported them and you've done all that and you're proud of how you've been in the relationship. But it's like, what am I getting back from this? That's that energy there. So I tried to give a few examples how that energy can play out. Now, the past is last week, last month, last year. It doesn't matter, right? We look at the past, so we know where we've been and we know why we are where we are. So because of this, whatever this recognition is, now you're at a place where you're looking at things in a very logical way. Now, this may be another person. It's that air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius doesn't have to be one of those signs. The signs don't own the cards. They just lend their characteristics. But he's very logical, very knowledgeable. That's the thing with the King of Swords. He's the advisor. He's the consultant. He can be a lawyer, someone that we go to for more information. And maybe that's what you need to kind of progress whatever it is that you've been working on. You get some advice from someone. So you can come into your reading as an advisor capacity, or it could be the person that, it's general reading. So the energies can go both ways. It can tell you someone who's central to your story right now, what's going on with them. But with the King of Swords coming up, it's your energy. It's very much about being very clear cut, standing by your word. Some of you, I'm getting the sense that you've promised something, or you've said, I will do this, or I will be in this contract for this amount of time, or, I will stand by you while you're going through this. And as much as it might not be satisfying, like whatever it is that you're doing, I think with the King of Swords coming up, this is about, am I going to be true to my word? And he always is. He's always true to his word. But it's knowing that it's for the greater good. He's not just going to stay in something because, he promised it, because he knows so much. He's so knowledgeable. He wouldn't have promised it if he didn't think it was the best thing for everyone concerned. He's a king. They always do that. They make sure it's the best thing for their kingdom, right? Also with the King of Swords, that if there is a decision to make, he has no problem making that decision. He has no problem. And he sits underneath that King of Pentacles. This is a beautiful combination. If you think about it, the hard work, diligence, attention to detail of the Knight of Pentacles with the knowledge behind it of the King of Swords, knowing what to do with it. I'm not going to lie. Actually, what I see here, and I have a Virgo moon, right? That's the kind of energy of Virgo, and an Aquarius sun. So this could be that kind of combination where I know those two energies very well, where you kind of see the imperfections, but the Aquarius side knows what to do with it. The attention to detail with the knowledge, and you're getting that energy. That's what's coming up for you, that you kind of know that. You're going to see exactly what needs to be worked on. And I think you will. I think for most of you, this is not about giving up. There's no ending here. There's no quitting. Something needs to be tweaked. The decision needs to be made. This needs to be progressed. This is amazing energy to get to do that. But the downside of the King of Swords, and that's why I know the Queen of Cups is coming up as the advice, is to do this, to progress this, to kind of look at it in this kind of very, very logical, very kind of, this kind of way of breaking it down to its bare essential and saying, well, this is the best thing for everyone concerned. This is how we move forward on this. It requires detaching from emotions. You're not necessarily doing things because it's going to make people the happiest. You're doing it because, the returns will be the best, or it's going to grow the business, or the relationship can move on because of this. But people might see you as cold and detached. That's the thing with the King of Swords. He can be cold and detached, and he has to be. He has to be that way. Doesn't mean he doesn't have emotions. He's just not ruled by them. Because think about it. When we speak our truth, or we tell someone the truth, if we come from an emotional place where we think, I don't want to upset them, we're not always going to be honest with them, right? Whereas if you're true, if you're loyal to the truth, if you're loyal to what you see as the right thing in that situation, then you might have to make a tough call sometimes. So that could be that energy. Where does it lead though? If you do this, if you step into this King of Swords energy, or get this advice that you're looking for, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is amazing energy. But this is very much, I can do it. I can do it energy. And ultimately, have a look. That's what the Seven of Pentacles is working towards, this Nine of Pentacles. And you do get there. Whatever it is that you're putting effort into, I think with the King of Swords that, I can do this and I know why I'm doing it. But it's about recommitting. It's that renewal of the vow that you took, or the oath, or the decision that why you got into all of this in the first place. Now with the Nine of Pentacles coming up, this is where you create whatever it is you're trying to create. She's gained mastery. I mean, what's the card that's missing between the 7 and the 9? The 8, right? The 8 of Pentacles is the apprenticeship card. So there is more kind of knowledge needed, and that could be what the King of Swords is, that you try to get more information. You have that difficult conversation. You make whatever calls need to be made. So there's that very logical. I think it's information. I think it's getting more information. That's where you slow down to get the information, to have the talks, to find out what's going on, and to say where you stand in the situation. And it works out beautifully with the Nine of Pentacles, because this is where you gain mastery. The fact that she always has this kind of bird of prey on her always shows that, you know, she's gained mastery over that kind of more animalistic side of her. Like I said, though, each card has a bright side and a dark side, right? A light and a dark, a positive and negative, a blessing and a curse. The blessing of this card is that you've done it. Whatever you wanted to create, you create it. You are confident, you're independent. You know that you can do this. You know, I've done this myself. I don't really need anyone else to do it. The downside, though, the curse side of the Nine of Pentacles is you can become very comfortable there. You can be the big fish in the little pond. And it says you've got this beautiful garden of abundance. Amazing. But there's a whole world to explore outside of this. Enjoy what you've created, but then expand, right? It talks about expansion. How do you expand that? Well, the advice is the Queen of Cups. She's a great counter to the King of Swords, right? Where he's all logical, she's all heart. And they sit either side of this great abundance, you know. And abundance can be anything. Emotional abundance, financial abundance. If you want more love in your life, if you want more spirituality in life, whatever kind of abundance you're trying to create. Very kind of obvious message, right? Balance the head with the heart. Almost a Chariot, if you think about it, with these two on either side. This is about not ignoring what your heart wants. It might look great on paper. It might bring in the returns that you want. But the Queen of Cups says, does it truly make you happy? And this may be to do with the recognition that you got, because she sits underneath that. You know, yes, you've got pride in what you've done. Yes, you've achieved it. But if it looks good on paper, if that's the partner, your partner looks great, or the relationship on paper looks great now, but does it make you truly happy? Does it make you truly happy? The queens I always see in a supportive role. You know, the kings are in charge. They're very fixed. They're very solid. We're going to do this. You know, they know how to deal with that situation. But I always see the queens as kind of more initiating stuff, as in, not initiating in that they begin things, but it's almost as if they are more, they're the supporters, right? So they're going to look around. She comes from a heart place. She's going to nurture. She's going to care for things or people. And she's going to express her love. They express it more. Whereas I think the kings more use their tools to bring order to a situation. Whereas they more, you know, she's not going to give a cup unless someone's worthy of it. Unless someone's worthy of it. And think about that for a moment. We've got this. So you, whoever this Six of Wands energy refers to, whatever this is, right? Whatever recognition you've had, whatever you take pride in. Is someone deserving of that? Is a job deserving of that? Is that company deserving of it? It's the partner that you're with. Are they deserving of being in this limelight, your limelight? And that sounds weird, right? But that's what it's kind of coming up as. And I think so, if you look at your heart, because that's the kind of balance, very kind of balanced energy. And it does lead to this abundance. But I will say this. If you have a look at all of these cards, they all have one person in them. One person. So even if this is you in a relationship, in a group of people, whatever, and, you know, some people won't like this message, but it is just, you can't deny what you're looking at. Every single one of them, they're thinking about themselves. What's my next step? Am I satisfied with what's coming up here? I take pride in what I've done. I'm enjoying what I've created. This is what I know. This is what I feel. So, you know, it's very, at every step, it's about looking within. And that sounds very selfish. And, you know, I think selfish is a much maligned word. Selfish for me is when we expect other people to cater for our needs. Taking care of your own needs and knowing that, you know, where am I in this situation? You know, have I created my own abundance? That's not selfish, because then we have more to give. We have more to give in that when our own cup is full, right? And that's the cup that she has. Right, let's get you some oracle cards. Receive with love and appreciation. Receiving something lovingly from others is a way of showing love. So in this case, if you expand on this with the energies that we have available, is the Queen of Cups someone offering you something, but you want to do it all alone? This could be someone, you know, offering you love and support, but it's like, no, I've got it. I'm doing it by myself. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't have to be that they come in and help you grow the business. It doesn't have to be that somebody brings you self-worth in the relationship. But it's always nice to have someone who has your back, right? And the Queen of Cups is an amazing person to have, who has your back. She's nurturing, she's caring, she's loving. She's going to, you know, make you feel loved. And it's amazing when you have that kind of love coming at you, radiating at you, what you can achieve. And that's where he can be kind of like, well, I don't know if I need love. It's okay. I'm doing all of this. It's all very practical energy. This is all like what I've achieved. It's all about very successful, very kind of achievement oriented energy. Doesn't mean you can't receive something with love and appreciation, right? It doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't mean you're giving up your independence or that, you know, you still haven't done it yourself. I mean, I sit here, I've said this before in one of my podcast rambles, I sit here every week, I turn the camera on, you know, I make the videos, I do the readings, but there's a whole army of people at my back who support me, who love me, who nourish me, you know, my mind, body and spirit to allow me to do whatever I do. And I don't take them for granted. And yeah, okay, so we have a change in the wind. Now, the only thing that I can kind of connect this to in this spread is the King of Swords. Maybe that's why you're slowing down. Because this is where we can sense something's coming and the storm's about to come in, right? But the storm clears the air, and maybe that's the conversation that needs to be had. It's difficult, but it needs to be had. If you're a boss, or if you own a company, this might be a conversation that you have with a worker, the Knight of Pentacles. I mean, I usually see the underlying energy as the energy of the person that I'm reading for. In this case, you guys, the Leos. But it can be a difficult conversation that needs to happen. It will clear the air, though. That's the thing with the change in the wind. Sometimes it's the sense of, oh my God, the storm's coming in, the fear of what's going to happen, but it will just clear everything. And the storms never last, right? They do clear everything. Yeah, and again, so we have like To Be Fair coming up here. Let's put this here. To Be Fair, this is like a Justice card. Justice. The sort of truth, if you have a look, she's kind of balancing these two things there, very much like the Justice card. This is what's doing the right thing for everyone. And I kind of got that with the King of Swords, if you remember when I was saying that. This is about what is the greatest good for everyone concerned in this situation. But you can't neglect yourself, right? Because you're going to come from where you know, what you think. It's always you. Like I said, solo energy in each of these cards. And that's what To Be Fair is. What is the fairest thing that could happen now in this situation? And it's kind of strange because it kind of feels like, you know, as much as you do for other people, you do end up having your own like pride in what you're doing. You create something for yourself too. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is they think they either give away everything that they have to other people and then wonder why they're left with nothing, or they don't nourish themselves. Or they nourish themselves exclusively and say, screw everyone else. There's a sweet spot, which is a balance, you know, not neglecting your own needs, but also not kind of drawing on other people unnecessarily, but accepting what's given to you. Okay, here we go. So it says, Dearest Jude, there are times you get lost but refuse to see your part in things. Happens to everyone. Something feels familiar but sort of off. If you're feeling confused, it's best to throw away that map you're using, which only lets you navigate based on your past experiences. That's very Knight of Pentacles energy. That isn't what you need right now. Instead, take a deep breath and are open to the truth. A desire to stay in denial means that part of you doesn't want to be responsible for the pattern that's shown up in your life. And think about it for a moment. He's very much about the truth. The King of Swords, very much about the truth. And if he's come up in the present's the point of power. The whole point of this is to get us moving forward. That's why a lot of people say, oh, I've had, not just me, with most readings, you'll get people that get readings and they're like, well, the past was great, the present was right, but the future never happened. Because we have to work through the present energy, make the choices here, take the advice that's given here to progress forward. Nothing ever just happens. That's why when we have a question like, will this happen? It's like asking me, like, as someone did this the other day, actually, they asked me, when will things get better? And I go, you've just come to me. This is a friend of mine, someone in my life. She said, you know, when will things get better? And I said, you've come to me and told me there are weeds in your garden. Now you're asking me when the weeds will disappear. And I was like, that's up to you. When you get down on your hands and knees and pull the weeds out, that's when they'll disappear. So remember that. Where was I on this? Yes, instead take a deep breath and open to the truth. A desire to stay in denial means that part of you doesn't want to be responsible for the pattern that's shown up in your life. Yes, this is the right time to wake up and start again. By the way, you will always get another chance. You have unlimited chances to start again. So whatever, you're reaping what you sow, right? But what have you sown? We love you so much. We really do. Be gentle with yourself. Coming out of denial is like being temporarily blinded by super bright lights. Allow your eyes to adjust. Carry on, special one. A beautiful life awaits. And it does, right? Loving you so, so much. I often say this, that, you know, if you feel like you've messed something up or you've made a mistake or done something, you can also fix it. You have the knowledge to fix it with the King of Swords coming up. And I want you to think of this. There's not a single major arcana card here. So this is a week where it's very much about what you want to do, what you want to achieve, the choices that you've made, how you tweak them. And with the Seven of Pentacles here, there's absolutely an opportunity to change what it is that you've been putting effort into.